Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to explain how you can become a CTO and earn more than $500,000 per year. Let's get started. What skills does a CTO need to have, and what does a CTO actually do? There are multiple things that a CTO does, and one of them is communicating with others. So you have to be able to communicate clearly and effectively. And to be able to do that, you need to be good at speaking. To be good at speaking, you must not use filler words or filler sounds like and you should also refrain from certain words that don't mean anything. For example, you shouldn't say literally when it's not needed. On top of that, you have to build up your own vocabulary to communicate your ideas effectively through your mouth. Another important part of speaking is listening. To be able to make the right decisions, you will have to listen to other people, especially to the developers, who will know exactly what's going on in the system and what is going wrong. But listening doesn't mean that you should do what they say. All the responsibility of the architectural decisions lie on the CTO. The second thing you need to be good at as a CTO is programming. Duh. But not just programming. You need to understand the fundamentals of system architecture. You need to be able to choose the right frameworks and the right languages for the right circumstances. And to be able to do that, you must have experience in a variety of languages and frameworks firsthand. Most developers focus only on their part of the system, like front-end developers, back-end developers, DevOps. As a CTO, you must have knowledge about every part of the system to be able to make the decisions. To become a better programmer for the CTO role, you have to go wide. You have to work on a variety of frameworks and a variety of languages until you understand at least the fundamentals of how things work. To get to this point, I recommend not sticking to your own little corner, but trying out other things. And a very good way to do this is to create a system and host it online. It can be anything, something like a marketplace, where you create the front end, you create the back end, you create the designs, you do the DevOps, and you do everything as if it's a real product. It needs to be secure, it needs to be scalable, it needs to have automatic scaling, it needs to be tested. Only then you will understand what it takes and what the priorities are to get something to the market as soon as possible. This will also give you the confidence to make the right decisions. Once you have created your marketplace or whatever system you chose to create, you should rewrite that in another language with other frameworks. If you wrote it in Python, rewrite it in C# or C++, whatever. You need to understand how things work differently in different frameworks, and then when you'll be the CTO at one of the big companies, you'll know exactly which framework to use for which application. The third thing you need to be able to do as a CTO is project management. You need to be able to look ahead and create a planning to create a direction for the company. You need to say how things are going to be done, but in small companies you will also have to say how long it's going to take and how many people you need to do it and how much it will cost and who needs to do what and when. To be able to do that, you need to be a seasoned developer. You need to have worked on various projects to be able to estimate roughly how long things are going to take and by how many people, and what challenges you are going to face and where the risky parts are, what you should do first and what can be parallelized. That is the project management part that lies on the CTO. And in small companies, you will also have to do the project management itself. For example, which framework are you going to use? Are you going to use Scrum or Kanban? And again, to be able to make the right decision, you need to have the experience with all the frameworks. Only then you can give a good recommendation. You need to know the positives and negatives about each framework and each way of doing things. The fourth thing you need to know is people skills. Now, people skills is not just being able to hang out with people and being friendly. It's also the opposite. How do you fire someone? How do you choose who should be fired? How do you hire someone? How do you choose who should be hired? How do you have the tough conversations? How do you give negative feedback? Do you give negative feedback or not? And in which situations do you give negative feedback? And after that, it's just a matter of experience. After having so many tough conversations with so many people and being involved in so much office politics, you'll get a hang of it. For better or for worse. And then the last thing you need to know as a CTO is product management. When the CEO asks for a new feature, or when a client asks for a new feature, or when a developer says, we need to fix some tech debt, you need to make the decision if you should actually do that. You need to weigh and balance the technical side and the business side. Use your own expertise and experience to make the right call. Are you gonna drop security and scalability for this new feature? It might be a good call. It all depends on the company and the situation. Now that you know what the CTO needs to be able to do and what skills you need as a CTO, I will explain how you can become a CTO step by step. I'm assuming you are a software developer if you're watching this. The first step is to become a team lead. Now, how do you become a team lead? You become a team lead by showing a sense of ownership. So whenever there's an issue in the system, let's say there's a bug in production, you don't wait for the manager to tell you to fix it, but you fix it yourself. With a sense of ownership, you will take a big burden off of your manager, and this will be noticed by your manager. Especially if you can communicate well and you have a strong sense of ownership, you'll be a team lead in no time. Okay, let's say you became a team lead. How do you become an engineering manager? Well, first I recommend to do this at a startup. It's easier to go up the ladder in a startup than in a big company. So once you are a team lead at a startup, you should focus on your people skills and communication skills even more. This is what sets apart a team lead and an engineering manager. So read more books, watch videos about communication, about people, about psychology, and understand how you can work well with other people. There's also one important thing that most developers will never be able to do, that you might be able to do to get ahead. And that is to not be an asshole. It sounds easy, but for most people, this is very hard. So if you are not an asshole and you are good at communicating and you have a strong sense of ownership and you are a good developer, you'll be an engineering manager. Now, how do you become a CTO from there? Let's say you're an engineering manager and you want to become the CTO. To become the CTO, you need to have more experience with dealing with customers and with project management. So here comes the product management and project management side of things. If you join a startup and you see that things are unorganized, then you should, with your sense of ownership, organize things properly. So you should implement a project management methodology in that company to organize things. And then you'll be able to highlight your project management skills, because you have to sell yourself to the CEO once you apply for a CTO role. You need to explain what have you done successfully and what can you promise to the company in your next role. You need to be able to say that you can organize a large group of people to work effectively together, and you need to be able to promise that you will make sure that there will be no major technical mistakes. In general, a CTO interview will be easier than a software developer interview, and that should motivate you to keep grinding and learn these other aspects of software development and grow yourself as a person. In general, becoming a CTO takes at least 10 years. You need to build up your vocabulary, your communication skills, your technical skills, your project management skills. To fast track this, I recommend to work in startups and focus on your personal development. And take every opportunity to fix things that are broken in whatever company you will be at. Check out my other videos about career progression and let me know in the comments what you think is holding you back to become a CTO. Peace.